I'm going to switch out my glasses a little bit here. I am getting ready to, I work remotely, so I'm getting ready to go back to work today, or go to work today. But I like to do this series with you in the morning before I start. So this is day 10, and I suggest that you watch the other days, but you can just mix it up and watch the days separately. It doesn't have to be day 1, day 2, day 3. So I would say get a journal, just any blank journal, and take notes. Day 10 is called Peace Over Pieces. And before I get started, I want you to make sure, write this down, go to paralegalcoffeetalk.com, my website, and check out the Paralegal Resource Hub tab, which is a free hub. You have to sign up for it, but there are incredible videos there for you to watch that will help you. And especially, I really work with people who are going into the field for the first time. Total entry-level people wanting to go in and be, and land that paralegal job, okay? So that's what I do. And I'm a coach in that regard. I've been a paralegal for 34 years, worked in many different areas of law in 3 different cities now, 3 different states. And so I'm very familiar with what it takes to get into the career. All right, so go to the website, look under every tab, and there's a membership called the Beginner Paralegal Growth Accelerator course. Used to be called Paralegal Inner Circle class, but it's called the Beginner Paralegal Growth Accelerator course. That's not open. It will be open next month, and I will announce the date shortly, okay? People have been asking me, so I will announce that shortly. All right, Peace Over Pieces. In Philippians 4, 6-7, now Philippians, the book of Philippians, Paul is writing a letter to the church at the city of Philippi. And so the people that lived there were called Philippians because they live in Philippi. And so he was writing, and I'll tell you what the situation was. He was, in this particular letter, he was chained to a soldier in an apartment in Rome. The head of Rome, Caesar, he didn't want Paul to be upsetting the apple cart, because the Romans were not Christians. They were worshiping idols and false gods. And so the powers that be didn't want Paul to upset that. Now, Paul used to be known as Saul, and he was one of the biggest persecutors of Christians when the church started, when Christians first came to be, when Jesus was on the earth, and then after Jesus died and was resurrected, the church was growing like crazy. And Paul was determined to kill as many Christians as he could. But the Lord had other plans for Paul. Saul/Paul changed his name to Paul. He became one of the greatest missionaries ever. So here's what Paul was writing, part of what he was writing. Don't worry about anything. Instead, pray about everything. Tell God what you need and thank Him for all He has done. Then you will experience God's peace, which exceeds anything you can understand. His peace will guard your hearts and minds as you live in Christ. So he was under house arrest, and house arrest back then didn't mean you would have an ankle bracelet on your foot. He was actually chained to a Roman soldier to guard him, as if Paul was some huge threat, but to the Roman Empire he was a threat. what he was telling the people back in Philippi who were upset that he was arrested and worried and fretting. And he told them, you know, I'm free in my spirit. Nobody can chain my spirit. Remember that one. When you feel you are in chains physically in a situation, no one can chain your spirit. He wrote about, excuse me, about praying, avoiding worry, and finding joy and peace in the Lord. Last summer, and I've told, if you've watched any of the other videos, there was something totally out of my control regarding my daughter's condo. She had passed away, and I was the executor of her estate. And there was unbelievable water damage that happened right before or at the time we put it up for sale. Like right at that time, the air handler in the ceiling over the downstairs bathroom decided to get plugged up, overflow. Water was coming down the walls, went under the wood, down the bathroom walls. There was tile on the floor there, but then it seeped down the walls and into the hallway next to the bathroom and to the front door. I mean, it was going under the wood floors, okay? And you could step on the wood floor and see the water. It was squishy. So the realtor saw that. She was bringing another realtor in to see the property. Now, that happened at the very beginning or mid-May. That house would have sold in a nanosecond at that time. But all this happened, and I didn't know how we were going to fix this, pay for it, anything. I had to give it over to God because it was just so troubling. And it was just sitting there. And I knew mold would be growing. This was in Florida. And I couldn't get anybody to fix properly the AC and fix that. There was a property management company taking care of this property during that time. And the tenants, right before they moved out, said they reported this to the property management company. I'm going to tell you, they were worthless in trying to, in addressing this problem. And the tenants reported it. So to say I was at my wit's end, and I just had to give it over to God. There's something in your life you're dealing with right now, whatever it is. You've got to give it over to Him. Trust Him to show you what to do, or He's going to take care of it. Okay? But ask Him for both those things. Lord, show me what to do, or I'm just handing it over to you. And I knew the Lord was telling me, give it to me. So by September, it was solved. And we sold the house, closed on October 13th. So Paul describes how Jesus himself lowered himself to serve others. When I'm working in the legal field, I work hard to make sure my ego is not out of whack with the other staff members. That I'm never putting myself above other people on staff. That I look at the person who's running errands for us in a law firm as the same as me. No one is treated in a lower manner. And I'm to serve that person who's running our FedExes to the, FedEx location at the last minute, the same as I would as a 30-year veteran paralegal. I'm to serve the attorney as part of my job, right? My whole job. But I'm to serve the people I work with as well. Can you imagine what it would be like if, for the staff, you were able to bring in we all, a couple of the paralegals chipped in, or if there were 3 or 4 paralegals, and they chipped in and just bought lunch, like pizza, something, or wings, or both, and brought that in once or twice a year for the staff, how far that would go. Paul had no idea if he would be released or what was going to happen, but he knew God had him in his hand, that there was a plan in place, and there's a plan in place for your life. Jeremiah 29:11 says that you have a purpose and there's a plan for your life. I've had people ask me, Leslie, I'm 38 years old. Is it too late to get into the field? I got into the field in my 30s. You know, I was a stay-at-home mom. I owned my own garden center, and then went into the legal field after we closed that in 1990. So, but I had worked some other jobs after we closed the garden center, and I worked for an employment agency. I worked for the Chamber of Commerce in Tulsa, which was a hoot, and and I loved being in downtown Tulsa. That's really was a cool place. I enjoyed those jobs, but I needed to, I thought, specialize in either medical or legal, and I chose legal. So service is a beautiful thing. You just see people brighten up. It's just a wonderful experience. It blesses them, but it blesses you too. And there's nothing like it, to help somebody else, to give your time to somebody else. You know, once you get experience as a paralegal, mentor somebody else, take them under your wing and show them some things. Don't be haughty. Don't think that, well, you should know this already. I had paralegals helping me along the way, and then I had to learn a lot on my own. So I had no money to go to school. And I wasn't too sure about the school anyway in my area, because the director had no hands-on experience in the legal field. And so they really didn't know the barriers or the mountains that the newly minted paralegals had to climb in order to land a job. Now that's what I know, and that's what I help my students do, and land jobs, and teach them how to do that, but also what you need to impress the attorney. It's really two different things, okay? Instead of having your life in disjointed pieces and it doesn't seem stable, it's important to, peace is so vitally important in your life. There's nothing like it. And the closer you are to the Lord, the more peace you will feel. And it'll be a peace that passes all understanding. You're like, Lord, you've given me peace over this, and I don't know why, but I feel peaceful about it. So when you're interviewing and you're doing that, you know, you're going from interview to interview, you get called in, and you don't feel a peace about it, that's probably not the job for you. Really rely on your God-given intuition, to understand where you should be and where you should not be, okay? So don't forget, go over to Paralegal Coffee Talk and look under every tab. There's so much there that will help you, but numero uno, join the Paralegal Resource Hub for free and watch those videos there. Sign up and watch the videos. It's on a separate platform than my website, so I could house the videos there, and watch all those videos. There's questions you can answer or not answer. That's up to you. And stay tuned, because the membership will be launching, and it has not launched officially in a couple years. So I think the last time let's see, it has not launched officially, I believe. It might be just 2 years since that last one. So it's time for me to move and offer that to students again, okay? So tomorrow we're going to talk about focus. So stay tuned for that video. And you can find me on Instagram under Paralegal Coffee Talk. You can, and these videos I'm trying to get up there too. And on the Facebook page, Paralegal Coffee Talk. The website is Paralegal Coffee Talk. Okay? Easy to remember. The only thing that's a little different is this here on YouTube is Paralegal Career Mastermind right here. Ton of videos. Binge watch. Take notes. Okay? And we will talk tomorrow about focus. And if you want to read ahead, read Philippians 4:8. Okay? For tomorrow. And I will see you then. Love you guys. Take care.